Anand Tandon of BRICS is with us now to take this market perspective further. Morning, Anand. Is this a good budget coming up, you think? Does the market move up after the budget, or one more of those examples where the budget knocks the market back?
Two different questions there, Udyan. I think the budget is relevant and the market is likely to move up, in my view, because the expectations are so low that almost nothing that the minister can do can actually knock it back, I think. I think we are far more dependent on what happens to Greece and the rest of their cousins in Europe than anything that the finance ministry does here.
Anand, morning. What will be the key relevance of the budget this time? That it keeps the macros intact for the market to continue performing? Or you think it's going to be a much more detailed document this time, attacking sectors and attacking issues?
I don't think there are that many sectors left to attack. I think the government's also trying its best to make sure that the contentious issues are taken out of the budget. I think the fertilizer subsidy reduction is a case in point. I would imagine that, for the most part, you'll see some kind of tinkering in the tax rate just so that you can justify the fact that we actually have a huge fiscal deficit, which continues to remain out of control. For example, the latest talk that I hear is that we are trying to put together a framework on how to reduce fiscal deficit. That used to be called FRBM when I last saw it. That's been thrown out of the window. Yet another framework for me at least offers no credibility. So as I see it, I don't think that there is much that the policy in India can do. What we are really looking for is how global factors change. We are like a small raft trying to fight the rapids. So long as you stay on top of the waves, you're all right.
What did you make of this news on fertilizers, Anand? And do you think oil as a sector will follow, given what you heard on fertilizers?
Well, fertilizer, the prices hadn't been changed for the most part of the last, I think, 7 or 8 years. So, a small increase of 5% is not that, that great. To the extent that you're trying to move toward a nutrient-based strategy, as far as I've been in the market for almost 20 years, I've been hearing that. So I don't know whether that's actually going to become effective. If it does, then it's great for Indian agriculture. But I wouldn't put a whole host of, expectations based on that. On the oil sector, I think it's a completely different ballgame. I don't think it's a question of trying to, you're basically asking, should I tax people more? Because, the real fight is between the finance ministry and the petroleum ministry and how the taxes have to be moved out, rather than whether there is really an under-recovery from the market. So I think, that's a political issue that has to be resolved at the political level rather than the economic level. Obviously, problems remain that, inflation will go up. And it will have a trickle down across the economy at a time when inflation, at least at the consumer level, is already up in seriously high double digits. So I'm not sure that you'll find the political will to do that just yet.
Where do those global issues that you just raised sit with the market, though, Anand? I mean, at worst, does it mean we move to the lower end of our band, or can it be worse for us?
Well, as I said, I think right now the expectations are so low and the market globally are so sanguine that the likelihood is that post the budget you'll probably find that the market moves up a bit. But that said, I don't see too many, the possibility of a huge rally from here. Most of the incremental news has to be somewhat negative for the market. Interest rates are looking to move up. There will be some attempt to try and raise taxes somewhere. In most countries, the so-called stimulus package will be likely removed, which essentially means that there will be a renewed focus on fiscal deficit for most governments, and therefore government spending at least will come down. There are some issues in India which I think, I'm not able to square the circle on. For example, I've heard of jobless growth. I have not heard of creditless growth. And what we are witnessing in India right now seems to be creditless growth. You have 12-13% money growth in credit from the banking system, and at the same time we are having a booming economy, at least apparently. So if you have a situation like that, one would argue that there is actually perhaps a severe increase in efficiency of the market, but that doesn't seem to be happening either because inflation is very high. So you couldn't be arguing that factor efficiencies have gone up very well. So I think there are some issues with the macro numbers that are getting reported. But, these things take a long time to figure out.
Stay on, Anand. We'll have many more questions for you. Need to